Hello and welcome to this TechTarget Search Virtual Desktop instructional video on how to set up a Windows Virtual Desktop environment. We're gonna set up Windows Virtual Desktop environment with the Azure Resource Manager. This is the new way that is gone general available since May. And I'm gonna show you how to use it, how to set it up, and how to manage your environment with it. So first off, make sure that you sign in to Azure. If you don't have an Azure subscription, you can go to azure.com/free, and here you can create a free account for Azure, which gives you, for instance, 170 euros that you can spend within Azure. With this, you are able to set up WVD and try it out a bit. So when you are in your Azure environment, click in the search field and type in Windows Virtual Desktop. This will bring you to the new Azure Resource Manager management system for Windows Virtual Desktop. And from here we can create our environment. We do this by creating a host pool. So we're going to click on create a host pool. Going to select our subscription and a resource group. We're going to give the host pool a name. So I'm going to call it TechTarget Demo Pool 01. This is the location where the metadata is saved. As you can see, it's now only available in the US, but later in the year it will be available in Europe. Then we get the option to, if it is a validation environment, this will mean is it a test environment or is it a production environment. When it is a test environment, you can click yes, and this will allow you to test changes in your environment before deploying it to production. I'm going to set it at no because we're just going to create a demo environment. And the next one is we have to select a host pool type. We have two types, that's personal and pooled. With personal, you get a 1-to-1 ratio. This means that for each virtual machine there is one user which always is attached to that virtual machine. And with pooled you get a shared environment, which means that on one virtual machine multiple users can sign in, but also if you don't use a multi-user OS, you can also just say that you have a pooled machines and then randomly someone is signed in to one of those machines. For the demo we're going to create a pooled one because we want to create a Windows 10 multi-user version. The next thing we can then set is the max session limit. So these are the maximum number of users that are on one session host. If you think about this, this is a really important one because this really impacts your performance. Setting too much users on one session host will degrade the performance, but setting too little, setting this so too restrict will mean that you need more virtual machines in Azure, which also cost you money. So you really have to figure out what's the best way for you. At a customer I'm working with, just to give you an example, we have set the session limit to 10 and we use the NV4AS _version 4 VM size, so that's the AMD Azure machines with graphical power, and we have set the limit to 10. But every machine size and every workload, so your workload can be completely different, should have a different session limit. For now I'm gonna type in, I'm gonna set it on 10. because this is just a demo. The next one is load balance algorithm. And that's just two options, breadth first and depth first. Breadth first means that if you have 10 virtual machines online and 10 users sign in, it will make sure that that the first user will go to virtual machine 1, then the second to 2, and then if those 10 users signed in, then each machine has one session of those 10 virtual machines. With depth first, it will just fill up one machine and then start with the other, then start with the other. So again, we have 10 VMs up, there are 10 users are signing in, then all 10 are going to VM 1. So figure out what's the best way for you. Next, we're going to click on virtual machines. So next step is virtual machines. And within a pool, we of course need those virtual machines. So you can add them later, but you can also add them when created. So we're going to add one now. And then when everything is created, I'm going to show you also how you can manage it. And I will show you how you can add a extra virtual machine. So for now, we're going to click add machine. In the same resource group, that's all right. We're going to click West Europe for me. Here I can change the size. So for instance, I can choose a different spec like the D4. A number of VMs. So I said we're going to create one now at the start. The name prefix. So this is what every machine that will be created will start with. So if you choose that you want to create 5 virtual machines, then all will start with this prefix, and then Microsoft automatically numbers them 1 to 5. Now I'm going to type in the prefix. And what I said, if you entered here that there must be 5 machines, then it would be tech demo 01, 02, 03, 05 automatically. So next one, we need to select our image, of course, on which the machine will run. We can do this from the gallery or from a storage blob. So you can upload your own image to a storage blob and then select it here. I'm going to choose the gallery. And I'm going to choose the Windows 10 multi-user, so the Enterprise Virtual Desktops, with Microsoft 365 automatically installed. So this is a Windows 10 multi-user, so multiple people can sign into this. So that's correct because we did a pooled version. It's Windows 10 version 2004, so it's the newest. And this means with Microsoft 365 apps means that Office 365 will already be installed in this image. Next, you can choose a disk type. So I'm going to choose premium SSDs because those are the fastest and will give the best performance. Next, we set up the networking. Within the resource group you chose to create these machines, you should have a VNet, and on this VNet it's really important that there is an Active Directory available. This can be done with a local Active Directory and then throughout a VPN. This can do with an Active Directory machine you created in Azure, so a virtual machine in the same VNet, or use VNet pairing, or this can be just a Azure domain services. So in my case, I have created this VNet, and on this VNet there is already a virtual machine. It's called Domain 01, and it has the Active Directory role installed, and it is turned on and available on the VNet. So this is the subnet. Now we don't want a public IP address for these machines. A basic security group is alright. We don't want inbound ports. Of course you want to reach those machines from everywhere around the world, but you don't want to reach them directly. You want to reach them throughout the RDP gateway that is built in within the Windows Virtual Desktop service. Here you can specify a domain or a unit. Well, I want them automatically joined to my domain, so I'm going to type in the domain name. And here you can select or type in an OU in which the machines are created. If you leave this empty, what I'm going to do is they will be created just in the computer's OU in your domain. So next we need to fill in a user which can domain join the machines. So this could be a domain admin or someone that has the right privileges within the domain. I'm going to type in my user. And then you have to type in the password of that user twice. So next we're going to click on Workspace, which is the next step. And here you can click on to register those machines in a desktop app group. Here we're going to click yes, and here we're going to click create a new workspace. So Windows Virtual Desktop runs within a workspace. Within that workspace there are host pools and there are app groups and there are users, and you combine them all together to deliver to your end users. I will show you this when we go into the manage part. So now I'm gonna enter a workspace name, tech demo workspace, click on OK, and this will be created when we're gonna create our WVD environment. So we click on next tags. I usually like to tag some things in my lab so that I know why they are created and what they are for. So I'm gonna create I have created a name tag that's called Chris Lab Function. So I know in my lab what something the function about. I'm gonna call it WVD. So I know that everything is created will get a tag called WVD. It's easier to search them with and to know what is created. So next step is click next review create. Now Azure will validate your deployment and see if everything is correct. So now I get validation pass, so everything is set up correct, and I can click on create. Now the deployment will start, and here you can see the status of your deployment. The deployment will take about anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes. Usually around 30 minutes or something. So I'm of course will skip until it's completed. So the deployment is complete, and now we can manage our environment. You can click on go to resource, and this will get you to the resource. Here you can see that we have created a host pool, and it contains one session host, one application group, and one application. It is pooled. This is the VM size, and it is premium SSDs. And as you can see, it also has my tag that I wanted. To manage the complete environment, tick in the search field again, Windows Virtual Desktop. And now here on the left side, you have host pools, application groups, workspaces, and users. Click on host pools and you will see the host pool that we just created. You can click on the host pool and see the same information we just saw when we clicked on go to resource. We have application groups. We have workspaces. It's the workspace we just created, and we have users. So the first thing we want to do is look at the application group. So right now we have created, there is one application group that is automatically created, and it's called Tech Target Demo DaaS. So this means desktop application group. A desktop application group is a group that publishes the full virtual desktop as a published desktop to the users. You can also create application groups that just publish a remote app. So let's do that. Click on Add. And we're going to create a new application group. Going to click our subscription, our resource group, our host pool, which we automatically created. And here we can choose if we want to create a remote app or a desktop. The desktop is already created and you can only have one desktop per host pool. So this is grayed out. We're going to create a remote app and we're going to create the app group name. We're going to call it application group notepad. We're going to click next assignments. So which users do we want to have access to this new application group? These users must be users on that are available in your Azure Active Directory. So if you want local domain users to have access to this application group, you have to set up Azure Active Directory DaaS. So your local Active Directory must be in sync with your Azure Active Directory. I already set it up, so I can get my local users. So I'm going to add test01. Next, we need to add the application. By clicking on Add Application, we can do this from the Start menu. What it will do, it will now look in that virtual machine we created and look what applications are available in the Start menu of that machine. So it found all these applications, and of course we can search to, for instance, Notepad, description. We can enter our own description. This remote app Notepad. We can even add a extra command line. For now, that's not necessary, so I'm going to click Save. Next, we need to register the application group to a workspace. So that is our own workspace. We can set up again tags. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to click My Functions and I'm going to say it's WVD. Review and create. It will now validate if the application group is correctly set up. And we're going to click create. So now we created an extra application group within our deployment. This should go really fast because this is just adding an extra application, not deploying a complete new deployment. So the application group is created. It is done. So we're going to go back again by searching to Windows Virtual Desktop or just click on your recent service Windows Virtual Desktop. Then go to application groups and we can see that we now have two application groups. We also want to assign users to the desktop group. So we're going to click on the desktop group and here we're going to choose assignments. So which user has access to this group. So this is one that you really have to be careful about because you also have access control and you have assignments. Access control is who can manage this application group. Assignment is who gets the application. In this case, the full desktop. So I'm going to click Add. I'm going to search for my user again. And I'm also going to add my second user here. So both users are now, they both now have the full published desktop available. So the next thing is we want to see the user sessions. Well, first those users need to sign in. So let's do that. I'm going to start a new private web browser. I'm going to go to the WVD sign in page. And I'm going to sign in with my test user. So here I can see I got the full published desktop. So this is always the icon of the full published desktop and I get Notepad. So let's start up by signing into the full published desktop. Now I have to sign in again. And you can see that I'm signed into my full published desktop. I get Windows 10 multi-user, and if everything is correct with the image, I should also have Office directly available for me to use. Mind you, I have not set up other Microsoft services like FS Logics and stuff, but you can of course do that. FS Logics is also free to use with WVD. So I would highly recommend to set it up for the profile management. Now it's just created a local profile on this machine for me. As you can see, I also got the Office suite. So let's get back to our management. Now we can manage the users that are signed in. We click on users and here we can search for our users. So I'm going to search for test. I get my user test01. Here I get some information about the user. Then I see the assignment, so which application groups is the user assigned to. And then the last one is sessions. So this is my active session at the moment. You can see it's active, my session ID, on which virtual machine I am. I can then from here force a log off or force a disconnect. And I can also send a message to the user. So this message is now sent to the user, so we can also see this. I get the message. And we can log off this user. Yes. So if everything went correctly, I will see that it is logging off. So this way you can easily manage your WVD environment and your users on that environment. I hope this was informative and it gives you a good look into what Windows Virtual Desktop within Azure Research Manager can do. And I hope you have fun setting up your own demo and trials and even bringing it to production. Bye.